The office was too quiet. Mason Callahan stood across from his father, hands in his pockets, trying to look like he wasn't unraveling. "It was a calculated risk," Mason said. "That's what you taught me." Bo said nothing. "How much?" his father finally asked. Mason hesitated. 200. He swallowed. Million. In the doorway, his wife Camille watched. She didn't interrupt. Didn't react, she just absorbed it the way she absorbs everything. On the night his father collapsed, Mason Callahan arrived at 6:15 with his wife a half step behind him and did the thing he's always done best: he lit up the room. Energetic. Warm. The loudest laugh in any given cluster of guests. Investigators would later describe it plainly. Mason energetic, seeking validation. Mason posturing socially. What almost nobody in that room knew, including, we suspect, Mason himself not fully, is that 3 weeks earlier, his father had quietly finished cleaning up a $2.1 million mistake that could have ended him. And that same night, in a private office upstairs, Bo Callahan had already signed the paperwork to make sure it never happened again by cutting his son out. Mason didn't know that part yet. He was still working the room like a man who'd been forgiven. Here's what actually happened. Mason lost $1.5 million on an investment his father would later call, in his own private journal, destruction dressed up as ambition. Add interest and secondary liabilities, and the real number climbs past $2.1 million. Bo covered it, but not directly. The money moved through a shell company called Red River Holdings, formed just 12 days before it bought 100 acres of Callahan land for $2.4 million. The funds routed through an unlisted account and quietly closed out Mason's debt. The file's own conclusion: transaction intentionally structured to conceal direct bailout. Mason never got a check with his father's name on it. He got a rescue disguised as distance. And somewhere in that distance, a story took root that let him keep believing in himself. 2 weeks before he died, Bo wrote something in his private journal that Mason never got to read. And honestly, it's the most devastating character read in the entire file. Mason still believes risk equals worth. It doesn't. Risk without discipline is just destruction dressed up as ambition. I covered his mistake, but covering something doesn't fix it. It just delays the consequences. He thinks I saved him. I didn't. I postponed the moment he has to face who he really is. Read that again. His own father didn't believe the bailout was mercy. He believed it was a delay tactic. And while Mason spent that dinner performing the confidence of a man who'd been redeemed, his father had already begun quietly restricting his access to the company's money the same night. The night before the dinner, Mason texted his wife. "Tonight matters." "I know," she replied. "He wouldn't have helped me if he didn't believe in me." "You don't need his approval." "Yeah, I do." 3 words, that's the whole man right there. Not "I don't," not "you're right." "Yeah, I do." Mason knows exactly what he needs. He just can't stop performing like he doesn't. And Camille, outwardly the supportive wife, reassuring him just enough to keep him steady, is doing something else entirely underneath. The same woman who stood in that office doorway 3 months earlier, silently absorbing a $2 million confession, was already thinking in a completely different register. Stability must be secured. Mason believes this marriage is restoring him. What Camille is actually running looks a lot more like containment. By his own account, Mason spent most of that dinner talking to his brother-in-law Grant. His statement, "I was talking to Grant most of the night. I didn't even know what Leela was saying until it got loud." Then everything just happened. Investigators read him as emotional, reactive, defensive the moment his finances came up, and, in their words, unstable but not calculated. No documented access to his father before the collapse. A man with every reason in the world to want something to change that night, and on paper, at least, none of the precision it would have taken to make it happen himself. That combination is exactly why he's one of the easiest people in this story to suspect, and possibly one of the least likely to have actually done anything. Here's where it gets hard to watch. Later that same night, after his father is gone, Mason learns the rest of it, not just that the money was quietly taken away, but that the entire company, everything he spent his whole life trying to earn a place in, was never going to be his. His sister already knew, his father already knew. Everyone in that house, it turns out, knew something Mason didn't. And when it finally lands, he says 4 words that might be the truest thing he says in this entire story. You were cutting me out. Not you didn't trust me, not you were wrong about me. Cutting me out like he already suspected, somewhere underneath all that charm, that he'd never really been let in. So here's the question worth sitting with. If the charm was never really confidence, if it was armor the whole time, what happens to Mason Callahan now that the thing it was protecting him from has already happened? That's Mason Callahan. Next week, we're going back into the evidence itself, 3 things about that night that still don't add up. Tell me in the comments, is Mason someone you feel sorry for or someone you still don't trust? The rest of his story, what he does with what he learns, is in the Callahan Legacy. Links below. Thanks for sitting with this one. Come back next week.